Jake the dog is totes awesome when it comes to saving the day alongside his brother Finn the human, but when Jake's at home, he's just your average musician slash chef slash party animal making bacon pancakes. What's up guys, this is Jacob, or Jake I guess, with channel Frederator, and today we're counting down 107 mathematical facts about Jake the dog. What time is it? Time to get started. What, were you expecting me to say something else? Jake the dog is the son of Joshua and Margaret, two crime-fighting detectives as seen in the episode Joshua and Margaret Investigations. Jake was conceived when a shape-shifting monster bit his father on the head during an investigation. Jake was later born out of the bump that formed as a result of the creature's attack. A natural-born performer, Jake's first words were a song and dance number where he sang,
"Hello, Daddy. Hello, Mommy. It's so nice to be here with you now."
Jake's birth is very similar to that of Athena, the Greek goddess of wisdom and war. According to the Greek mythology, Athena was born out of the head of her father Zeus. Seems similar, right? Jake was never told the truth about his past. In the episode The Witch's Garden, Jake tells Finn that he thinks he received his magical powers from rolling in a mud puddle as a puppy. We, the viewers, learn the truth in Joshua and Margaret Investigations, but the end of this episode shows their parents agreeing to never tell Jake the truth. For those of you who have never seen the show, if you even exist, Jake can shapeshift to a remarkable degree. That means he can stretch, shrink, and contort every part of his body by means of rearranging organs and bones, or even by adding and subtracting body parts. This is most likely due to being born from a shapeshifter's bite. Jake has a half-brother named Jermaine. The two have a weird brotherly connection that allows them to communicate via their dreams. It's usually how they catch up on each other's lives. Like the rest of the characters on the show, Jake actually ages during the series. During the first season, he was 28 in magical dog years, but he recently stated that he's now probably almost 40, though he lost count and is uncertain. Ah yes, that clears everything up. Very specific. It's unclear exactly how Jake ages in correlation to humans, except that it's faster. He's seen as a baby both before Finn and then alongside Finn, but then later he's far older than Finn. However, he must age slower than real dogs, since after Finn's 16 years of being alive, Jake has only reached the dog equivalent of around 40. A real dog's human age equivalent at 16 would likely be somewhere between 80 and 120. Continuing the age conundrum, Jake states that he is likely to live for about another 100 years. Perhaps it's due to the magical genes? No one knows for sure. We mentioned in our 107 Adventure Time Facts video that Jake's personality was inspired by Bill Murray's character Tripper in the 1979 film Meatballs, but his simplistic visual design resembles that of Dogbert from Scott Adams' Dilbert comics. Jake's not only Finn's best bud, but he also serves as a bit of a mentor, often giving Finn advice, sometimes even in song. Some of Jake's advice makes total sense, while some is pure nonsense. You never know what to expect from him. Jake once even gave Finn a whole explanation about how dating works. He said it has 15 tiers, tier 1 being hugging, tier 8 being touching her horn, and tier 15 being, well, Finn's not allowed to go to tier 15, so Jake didn't say. He just yelled at him to stay away from that tier.
Do not do tier 15!
Dude, I got no idea what you're talking about.
Jake's a big believer in fate and the glob world, probably because cosmic junk always intervenes with Jake's life. Like when Grob Gob Glob Grod prophesized that they would meet Jake on Mars in the episode Sons of Mars. Jake was a career criminal before he became a hero. The episode entitled One Last Job revealed that he used to be in a gang of thieves that included Tiffany, Gareth, and the Flying Lettuce Brothers. It's pretty clear that Jake left his life of crime to become a hero/adventurer, but his dark side still comes out every now and then. That's because Jake easily goes mad with power in certain situations. We see this in the episode Furniture and Meat, where he begins bribing people just to see how far they'll go for money. Turns out people will go pretty far for money. It's weird. It's really weird. It gets really weird. Sometimes, though, Jake's mischievous side comes out because he's just lazy and prefers to do whatever's easier, like just smashing all of the cutie people instead of helping them in conquest of cuteness. Although he's often depicted as easily distracted and absent-minded, Jake actually has his own newspaper column called Begs the Question. In case you missed our 800 other 107s that mentioned it, Jake is voiced by veteran voice actor John DiMaggio, who's also known for voicing Bender in Futurama, the Scotsman in Samurai Jack, Forearms in Ben 10, Gonza in Princess Mononoke, and many, many others. John has voiced Jake since the pilot episode, but he admits the show confused him when he first started. However, he now gets it after having watched a bunch of episodes, and he said, "I love doing the show, it's fun as hell." As a reference to John DiMaggio, both Finn and Jake cameoed on an episode of Futurama called Leela and the Jeanstalk, in which Bender and Jake meet face to face.
What time is it? Time for you to shut up!
A masterfully skilled musician, Jake is seen playing the viola, the acoustic guitar, the ukulele, the drums, and has even beatboxed on occasion. It frustrates him to hear anyone play music horribly, as seen in the episode Gut Grinder when Finn does a terrible job playing the viola. Shelby the worm actually lives inside of Jake's viola. We also see that Jake, or someone, scratched the word toots on the back of it. It was revealed during the episode what was missing. The way Jake plays his viola is inconsistent. In some episodes he holds it in his right hand, and in others he holds it with his left. However, in the episodes Shh and Video Makers, Jake is seen writing with his right hand, which must mean that that's his dominant hand. Jake lacks formal training when it comes to battling monsters, and instead relies heavily on the use of his magical abilities to overpower his opponents. Seems like it's been working for him so far. Even though Jake isn't crazy about fighting monsters like Finn, he has a fascination with becoming a ninja. He's read all the manuals he can get his hands on. Both Finn and Jake temporarily had ninja ice powers similar to the Ice King's powers in the episode The Chamber of Frozen Blades. Unfortunately, they didn't keep these abilities past the episode. Clearly, Jake's magical enough that he doesn't really need weapons during combat, but he still owns a sword that we see on occasion. It has a skull for a pommel, an eye on the guard, and half of the blade is serrated on one edge. Without his powers, Jake can barely run for 10 seconds. He also develops a weird man-baby bod in place of his usual form, which we see in the episode The Witch's Garden when a witch steals his powers. Why does a witch steal his powers? Because Jake stole her donut. Real talk, if I had magic powers, I'd probably be super petty with them too. Regardless of his relationship with Finn, Jake admits that he really likes the taste of human-flavored soy products. It's not really discussed in depth, but apparently Rainicorns used to eat humans. Maybe that's why there are so few humans left. Oh, right, and probably because of the vampires. Oh, also that great mushroom war. Yeah, that'll do it. Jake's relationship with Lady Rainicorn is supposedly taboo in their world because of the wars that took place between the dog and Rainicorn species over a series of land disputes in the Crystal Dimension. Of course, the relationship between Lady and Jake is a special case because Lady's parents, Bob and Ethel, love dogs. A dog saved Bob's life during the war, so they couldn't be more accepting of Jake. Apparently, Jake has a type. We all know he's dating Lady Rainicorn, but he once had a relationship with a pony by the name of Moniker DeLuise. As seen in The Great Birdman, Jake was taught how to read Braille by an ex-girlfriend who, according to him, wasn't blind, she was just really cool. It's never stated which ex-girlfriend taught Jake how to read Braille, but many fans speculate it was Moniker DeLuise since, well, she's the only ex-girlfriend we've seen in the series. And I don't know, she seemed pretty cool. Jake is actually a pretty jealous boyfriend. He gets jealous when Lady and Finn get closer in My Two Favorite People, and then gets really jealous when Cupcake Man flirts with her in Video Makers. Obviously, Jake can understand Korean, which is how he's able to understand his girlfriend Lady, but it's undetermined if he knew the language before they met or not, since he fetches his old universal translator device in the episode My Two Favorite People. When the conversations between Lady and Jake are translated, they're said to be a little racy. Specifically, a joke that Lady told in My Two Favorite People, which translates into a story of her and Jake running naked through an orchard together and eating apples from it.
That's the end of my story.
He may be in a committed relationship now, but Jake was quite the ladies' man before Lady Rainicorn came along. He's even seen giving pickup advice to a giant snail in the episode Slow Love. There's a very popular theory that Jake is also JT Doggzone, the famous author of the book Mind Games, which focuses on how to get women. This stems from two factors. One, the fact that we know that Jake is a ladies' man, and two, we know that he's a writer because of his newspaper column begs the question. Also, three, the initials JTD are a pretty coincidental match, especially since both of the last names include the word dog. Oh, and did we mention that Jake almost introduced himself as JT Doggzone in the episode The Pit when he meets a pretty girl named Samantha? He says,
I'm JT, the dog. I'm Jake.
Seems to add up. Do we have a cartoon conspiracy here? Maybe, but the entire episode might just consist of the word yes. He also gives advice to Finn and all the little people that sounds similar to some words in JT's book. He tells Finn it's all about the bumps in your heart. Later, when Finn is playing with all the little people, oh wait, that's the title of the episode, Jake is seen sitting by himself in front of a book written by JT Doggzone. And part of the passage that shows reads, "Now to be clear, JT Doggzone does not condone random flirtation with wanton babes, but rather careful consideration of which lovely honey gives your heart the bumps, because it's all about the bumps." Jake loves to take naps. This is known from the many, many times he sleeps on the show or wants to sleep, but it's especially evident in the episode What Is Life? Finn threatens to prank him so hard out of revenge, and Jake's response is, whatever, I'm gonna take a day-long nap. And he does, and then I was super jealous. Jake also loves ice cream, but ironically, Jake also has very sensitive teeth. This was pointed out by the Ice King, explaining that it's why Jake doesn't put ice in his drink, but it has been contradicted on occasion, like in the episode Princess Potluck, where Jake is seen drinking iced tea. Pickles are crazy nostalgic for Jake because his dad used to make them. The two would bond over his homemade recipe when Jake was just a pup. That's why Prismo likes to send Jake jars of his own homemade pickles. He's a pretty cool dude, that Prismo. Another thing he loves? Hot tea. We see Jake drink tea several times throughout the series. He even stays behind after Finn and Flame Princess go off to a dungeon adventure just to enjoy his cup of tea. If you watched our original 107 Adventure Time Facts video, then you'll already know that Jake was officially dead at one point. In the episode Sons of Mars, the King of Mars offers his immortality, and presumably his life, in order to save Jake from the 37th Dead World. The best part about this fact, though, is that the King of Mars was Abraham Lincoln. Jake has been through 3 different spirit realms: the low-level realm in Ghostfly, the underworld in Death in Bloom, and of course the 37th Dead World that time he, actually died. Jake often morphs into a suit of armor known as the Jake suit, in which he's able to encase Finn inside his own body for protection. Must be nice because, as previously stated in our original Adventure Time 107, Jake's insides smell like vanilla. Jake is a fan of Batman, or he's at least familiar with the character. During the episode I Remember You, Jake uses his best Batman impression to talk down to the Ice King when he says,
"Your constant harassment of the female gender makes me sick."
That Batman voice was specifically an impression of Diedrich Bader as Batman from the Brave and the Bold series. The inside joke here is that John DiMaggio voiced Aquaman, Gorilla Grodd, and other characters in the show alongside Bader. Though Jake is afraid of spiders, as seen in Marceline's closet, he also admits to wearing transparent pants made of spider webs, though they were spun by the hands of pixies, so maybe that makes him feel better about it. The Ice King once accused Jake of never crying because he's afraid of real emotions, and he was right. Jake's tearing up at his comment is proof enough for us. Poor Jake. I'm afraid of emotions too. Jake fathered 5 Rainicorn dog hybrids with Lady Rainicorn. Since Rainicorns age several times faster than dogs, even magical dogs, his pups all became similar in age to him shortly after their birth. Jake named his pups TV, Jake Jr., Charlie, Viola, and Kim Kil-Wan. There are 3 girls and 2 boys, and don't be fooled, the girls are actually Charlie, Jake Jr., and Viola, while TV and Kim Kil-Wan are male. It's a dirty little secret of his, but the pups were conceived in an old abandoned theme park in the Swan Seat for the Tunnel of Love, no less, which he groggily blurts out after crashing into it and knocking it over. It was revealed in a later episode by his ex-girlfriend Moniker that Jake always wanted kids. This might explain his overly protective behavior towards them after their birth. Once the pups matured, Jake seemed to ease up on his fathering duties almost completely. The pups have mixed feelings toward him because of it. Some accept him for his faults, while others harbor a little more resentment, though they all still love him, cause how can you not? Jake Jr. can shapeshift her hair, which seems like it could be a result of the genes of the same shapeshifter that bit Joshua, which in turn gave Jake his shapeshifting abilities. Nothing is confirmed though. What do you think? While the extent of her shapeshifting ability remains undetermined, we do know that Jake Jr. has a rebellious side inspired by her father's criminal past. She's seen reuniting his old crime ring in the episode One Last Job. His daughter Viola seems to share his passion for the arts. She's an aspiring actress, and a good one too. Jake likely named his daughter Viola after his and Lady's love for playing the viola. Another popular theory states that her name, as well as Charlie and TV's names, are references to the classic story of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, in which 3 of the main characters are named Charlie, Violet, and Mike TV. All the pups possess a combination of certain powers from each parent. These include things like flight, changes in size, teleporting, coloring objects, and various shape-shifting abilities. Jake forever remains a child at heart. We see this in comparison to his pups when they grow up and act more mature than Jake. Well, most of them do anyway. We're looking at you, TV. Jake starred alongside Lady Rainicorn in their very own Adventure Time promo way back in 2010. The video was a parody of a popular viral video that was circulating on YouTube earlier that year entitled Double Rainbow, in which a man is amazed by seeing 2 rainbows and questions what it means, even getting emotional. In the Adventure Time promo, titled Double Rainicorn, we see 2 Lady Rainicorns standing side by side while Jake comments on them and cries, "What does it mean?" The Simpsons and Futurama weren't the only 2 television shows to reference Jake the dog. He also made several appearances on Mad. Jake also had a popular appearance alongside his buddy Finn during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade 3 years in a row from 2013 through 2015. However, the floats were since retired after the 2015 parade. Jake's Bacon Pancakes song in the episode episode Burning Low got so famous among fans that a mashup was made by one fan using Alicia Keys' chorus from the Jay-Z song Empire State of Mind. It has over 7 million views on YouTube. During the series, Jake is portrayed as a great chef. He's always seen preparing delicious-looking food like burritos, sandwiches, and soups, and he is constantly experimenting with new dishes like making, bacon pancakes. At one point, Jake used his cooking skills to craft the greatest sandwich ever made, which contained a variety of ingredients from Prismo's pickles to lobster sole to the bird from the window. It was so good that Magic Man appeared and took it from Jake before he could even have a bite, though that was more out of a desire to torture Finn and Jake, cause Magic Man is kind of the worst. Jake's love for sandwiches is unfathomable. He's even wasted wishes on sandwiches. Once in lieu of saving himself, once in lieu of saving Finn,
I wish for a sandwich.
Dude, I'll just make you a sandwich.
and once from a powerful wizard's wand that he just so happened to touch called the Thought Cannon. Yeah, you thought it was gonna be just once, didn't you? No, it was 3 times where Jake wasted a wish on a sandwich. Jake is such a good cook that even insects want to steal his food. He once made a soup that was so tasty a fly tried to eat it, but Jake killed it before he could. Then the fly's ghost literally haunted their house until he could have a taste of the soup. Some ghosts have unfinished business like bringing their killer to justice, some just want some soup. It's no secret, Jake would totally eat cinnamon bun if he could. He proudly suggested he and Finn do this during season 2.
Let's go eat cinnamon bun.
Jake loves apple pies too. He loves them so much that he really gets cranky when he can't get one from tree trunks, as seen in Dream of Love. Despite his magical abilities and his unstoppable love for junk food, Jake won't eat chocolate because, well, he is still a dog. Even he knows it would probably kill him. Jake was once a brick for an entire episode, or at least brick-shaped. He joined a brick wall to fulfill his lifelong dream of knowing what it's like to be a brick in an old shack when it falls over. Though Jake didn't get to experience the shack falling in the end, he did learn a whole lot from a little bunny. Jake is easily persuaded. He claims that he'll do anything if he's asked 3 times, as shown in the episode The Limit. The episode The Limit is a reference to Greek mythology, specifically the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur. When in the labyrinth, Jake uses the same technique as the warrior Theseus, who had the idea to use string to avoid getting lost. Of course, in this case, Jake just used his own stretchiness. Nurse Poundcake confessed to PB that she has a secret crush on Jake. I mean, we all know that Jake has a love for food, but that would just be weird. And let's be real, a very short relationship. As seen in the episode's storytelling, Jake occasionally writes certain letters backwards. It's unclear if this means he's dyslexic or if this is common throughout the land of Ooh. Did you know? Jake once wore makeup. He wore what looks like mascara, eyeliner, and lipstick drawn all over his face, looking oddly like a target to Princess Bubblegum's potluck. When Finn tells Jake that he looks like a target, Jake says that he looks pretty. See, you can be whoever you want to be. Own it, Jake. Jake loves the game Card Wars, but BMO refuses to play with him. Why? Well, he gets major rage upon losing, which Finn soon learns, and so lets him win. Don't mess with angry Card Wars, Jake. It is just the ugliest side of him. Apparently, Jake's love of the game Card Wars stems back to his 20s. He was once undefeated until he lost to a guy named Grand Prix, which resulted in an embarrassing tantrum. Jake's ex-girlfriend, Moniker, is now in a happy relationship with Grand Prix. It's unclear whether or not she left Jake for Grand Prix after the embarrassing incident, but Jake clearly maintained some hard feelings about it. During his 20s, Jake used to rock a luxurious ponytail and a ratty denim vest. Good to see that a late 80s, early 90s metalhead look has its place in the land of Ooh. In the episode Princess Potluck, Jake reveals that he hates cats. I mean, sure, he is a dog and all, but we wonder if this has anything to do with the fact that Grand Prix appears to be a giant cat. Despite his current happy relationship with Lady, Jake is unable to forget about his breakup with Moniker and let go of the embarrassing Card Wars incident until he gets the help of his wise daughter Charlie to face the root of his problem and officially bury his 20s. Most of the friends that Jake introduces Charlie to in the episode Daddy-Daughter Card Wars were listed in the contacts of his old phone. How do we know they're his phone contacts? You can hear Jake read their names aloud way back in the episode My Two Favorite People. As part of his magical abilities, Jake is able to interpret poems just by physically feeling them. We see this in the episode titled Blood Under the Skin, in which he exercises this ability to help Finn on his quest to find the armor of Zeldron.
You don't just read the poetry to understand it. You gotta feel it.
Jake can sense whenever Finn is about to cry. This is described as a sort of mother-daughter type of connection between the two brothers. He can also calm Finn down with his saliva, and that is gross. As seen in Rainy Day Daydream, Jake has a crazy powerful imagination. It got so strong at one point that anything he imagined became reality, but it was only visible to him alone. It's in this same episode that we see exactly how much influence Jake's imagination has over his personality. He's not even close to the same person without it. Once he shuts down the imagination machine and actually loses his imagination, he's portrayed as bland and more robotic in dialogue than even BMO, who I'm sure I don't need to remind you, is a robot. In the Adventure Time comic book series, it's said that Jake is colorblind, but in the cartoon, Finn is actually the one who's a bit colorblind.
Sometimes red things are gray.
Jake has a love for Mozart and Beethoven as he's been seen playing their music on his viola. 3 popular pieces he's played are Mozart's Ein kleine Nachtmusik and both Beethoven's Fifth Symphony and Moonlight Sonata. On occasion, Jake struggles with restless leg syndrome. Apparently, not even magical dogs are safe from the jitters. Initially, Jake refused to accept the fact that Marceline was harmless because of his fear of vampires. Their relationship got off to a bit of a bumpy start in season 1, what with him almost killing her with sunlight, but since season 2, they seem to be on good terms. Jake's no murderer of innocence, but he did once kill BMO's husband, Bubble. Popped him, with no notice. How dare he? Poor BMO! But spoiler alert, it's okay. Bubble was actually just air trapped inside of a bubble. He's free! Thanks, Jake! Unintentional heroism saves the day. Jake can remove his own bones from his body with ease and no pain. That's a nice trick, though I don't know how useful that is, other than making oddly specific trades with his daughter. Jake has a granddaughter named Bronwyn. Her father, Kim Kil-won, enlists Jake's help to talk to Bronwyn about her failing grades, but Jake and Bronwyn end up just facing off in a skateboarding competition instead, because Jake wants to prove that he's still cool. As if that's a thing he even has to prove. Jake has an eye patch collection that was in mint condition, but definitely not after helping this little fella seen in the episode The Jiggler. They also used to have a glass eye collection that apparently belonged to Finn. Rest in peace, oddly specific eye collections. There's a lot about this show that is just oddly specific. Barking doesn't always seem to come naturally for Jake. This is inconsistent through the series, however, because while he does bark in episodes like Gut Grinder and Goliad, we see his failed attempts to do so in episodes like Up a Tree. We do see Jake barking as a normal dog in the episode Jake the Dog alongside Finn, who's also changed in appearance. This is due to an alternate timeline referred to as the Farm World reality that formed when Finn wished that the Lich had never existed. Jake is a genius prankster and he loves to prank Finn. Finn does, however, get him back at the end of What Is Life when Nepter, his new pie-throwing machine come to life, throws pies at Jake as he wakes up. Looks like Jake has gotten better at it though, and is now always one step ahead, as seen in The Creeps when he turns Finn's own prank against him at their dinner event. This time he goes real far to make Finn think that all of their friends are dead. Ha! Gotcha! Just gave you irreparable trauma for the rest of your life. Good goofs with friends. That is a knee slapper. At the end of the Adventure Time Elements miniseries, LSP restores all of Ooh to its original form, including Jake, whose true form is revealed to be almost identical to the blue shape-shifting monster that bit his father. The shape-shifting ability makes Jake an excellent face for Adventure Time merchandising. Literally, you can get Jake's face on everything from underwear to the full-bodied Halloween costume. Speaking of Jake suits, the Simpsons dog Santa's Little Helper briefly appears having taken the form of Jake in the episode Treehouse of Horror 25. Thanks for watching 107 Facts About Jake the Dog. What's your favorite thing about Jake? What's your favorite line or song of his? Comment below and let us know. We have new videos dropping every day, so make sure to subscribe to channel Frederator and don't forget to click the little bell icon to become part of our notification squad. Because remember, Frederator loves you.